Hello, hello. It's Susan Tapley with Chalk Couture. Hi, Christine. I can see that you are watching tonight. I am so glad that you are here. Hopefully, tonight I won't have the technical issues that I had last night. I tried really hard to do this project with you guys, and after I was bounced off twice, I just gave up and I said, well, I'll just continue making the project, and hopefully it will come out nicely and it will be recorded, and it came out really nicely. However, it didn't record, so I apologize for that, and we'll have to just explore the technique that I showed you at another time. And what I was showing you was how to make fluffy snow, and it came out really cool. So I bet you could even figure out how to do it if you have chalked with me before. So hello, Christine. Thank you for saying hi. I can see that I have a couple people watching. So if you can just say hello, let me know you're here. Be sure to share this video with your friends so we can get some more people watching. I'm not supposed to say the word share on Facebook, so we need to think of a new word that I can say in place of that. I heard a girl recently say the word sprinkle, and I thought that was kind of a cute word to use instead, and Facebook doesn't mind that one, so sprinkle away, you guys. So I'm going to switch my screen over so that you can see what we've got going on here tonight. I'm going to try anyway. You know how I am with this. It will happen eventually. All right, I have to change this to a different area. Here we go. Turn that off for a second. And switch those. Now I'll try this and that. I did it! Christine, are you so proud of me? Christine always laughs at me because I have a hard time getting my screens the way I want them to. So tonight we are working on a piece called Ice Skates Rental. And I actually have scheduled a class for this. I haven't announced it yet, so you guys are the first to know. Unfortunately, I left my calendar in the other room, and I can't tell you exactly what day it is, but I am going to be doing this as a class locally. If you are in the Agawam, Mass, Springfield, Mass, Hartford, Connecticut area and are watching and would like to join us, please put VIP in the comments, and I will be sure to get you in that VIP group so that you will know when it is, just as soon as I have my calendar in front of me. Thank you, Christine. I feel so much better. So tonight I am working on my favorite chalkboard ever. This is an Aiden Chalkboard. It is a magnetic porcelain steel chalkboard that I have had since I became a designer about a little over 2 years ago. It has seen so many beautiful designs that I wash off and redesign on this board all the time. It is one of my absolute favorite surfaces to work with. So this one has a beautiful, nice frame with some rustic distressing on it, so it's kind of like perfect for that farmhouse vibe that's so popular right now. So we're also using the B-size transfer called Ice Skate Rental, and I think that, did you realize that winter started just a couple days ago? It's hard to believe, but winter has just started, and all winter we need to make things happy and not cloudy and gloomy like it can be outside. So I think making a pretty piece like this is perfect to perk up your house a little bit with. So especially after all those pretty Christmas decorations are down, things look sort of dull. So I think this is a perfect winter piece for your home decor. So please pop in and say hello when you get here. So far, knock on wood, we're not having any technical difficulties tonight so far. Last night I was so frustrated, but I think it was a problem with my router. I reset it twice today, trying to get it the way it should be, and it seems to be working a lot better. So when you are starting with a brand new transfer, the first thing you're going to want to do is write on the back of it. You write what it is, and so I'm going to write Ice Skate Rental and your initials. So the reason that I do that is because, first of all, after you use this transfer, you can wash it and dry it, and it can be used over and over again. So in between uses, you want to store it on this paper called a carrier sheet that it comes on. And one side of the carrier sheet is very shiny and slick. I think I can pull it off of here. It's kind of like a sticker back. So if you've ever peeled a sticker off of a sticker sheet, you know that there's one side that's really sticky and the other side is pretty dull, which is this side. And I write on the back so that I remember not to reattach the transfer to the non-sticky side of the paper. I also put my initials on everything because when you're working with a group of people or you've loaned out your transfers, it is really easy to lose track of them and come home with the wrong person's transfer. I've even had people, you know, use their transfer and crumble it up in a ball when they were done, not thinking that, oh my gosh, I can use that again. So for that reason, I also put my initials on the front side so that I know which one is mine. So this is just a regular old Sharpie pen. I'm sure you probably have one in your junk drawer like I do. So we're going to get started on this. Hi Stacy, how are you tonight? So what I'm going to do first of all, since this is a brand new transfer, is I'm going to do something called fuzzing. And fuzzing is just adding a little bit of fiber, like little fiber threads that are in fabric, like a towel. And this one feels like a towel on one side, but it's a microfiber on the other side. The towel side is the side that you're going to fuzz your transfers on. If you don't have a fuzzing towel, don't worry about it. You can also fuzz it on a regular bath towel or your kitchen towel. Or you may have seen pictures of us at our project workshop fuzzing them on our t-shirts, our sweatshirts, our jeans. Anything that'll pick up a little bit of fiber will really help. Some of our transfers are super sticky, like this one seems to be. It's really sticky. And sometimes they're not quite so sticky, but this one seems pretty sticky to me. So what you're going to do is attach your transfer to your towel or your t-shirt or whatever it happens to be. And just give it a nice little massage, rub it down, and then pull it off. And then I usually do this 2 or 3 times depending on how sticky it is, and it's still pretty sticky. I'm going to give that a couple times. Alright, we'll try it one more time and see how that feels. Gee, it doesn't feel much less sticky, but rub it one more time. Alright, that's pretty good. So if you're working on a transfer that has layers, this one does not have layers, but sometimes they're layered, and that's when you want to be sure they're really fuzzed very well, because if they're too sticky, they can actually pull up the chalk that's already dried underneath it, and then you can have kind of a mess. So you want to avoid that. So I'm just going to attach this to my chalkboard. And you can use these on pretty much any smooth surface, like windows, metal, glass, mirrors. If you have inks, you can use it with fabrics like t-shirts and dish towels and pillowcases, all kinds of things like that. Alright, so if you have any questions as I'm working, please let me know. I'm smoothing it out and I'm trying to get all the air bubbles out, and I can feel that there's one right underneath this skate right here. So I'm just going to smooth that down nice and tight with my rubber squeegee and get that all down tightly. Okay, so tonight we're going to be using the paste and peel method of chalking. And you will see how that works. That's a technique that I like to use, especially if I'm using multiple colors. And I'm thinking about using 4 different colors on this design. If you are just hopping in, say hello. If it's your first time watching, give me a 1 in the comments. So my plan was I'm going to use a couple different colors. One is called Forget Me Not, which is a beautiful, like an icy blue color. I've got these open. I've already stirred them up a little bit, so I didn't have to do it while you were watching and waiting. I'm using a green called Eucalyptus. I have another green that's called Meadow. And I also have Bright White, which I'm going to be using too. So my plan is I want to do the scroll work up here in blue, the word ice skates in white. Although I just had a really cool idea about that. I could maybe ombre it. What do you think, guys? And we have another bit of scrolling there, and that's the part that I'm going to work first of all. So what I'll do first is the top roll of I can't say it, swirling. And then I'm going to pull it back to let it dry for just a second. Then we'll put it back down and work our way right down the transfer. So let's start with the blue for the scrolling. I'm going to have a hard time saying that word. And like I said, a little while ago, I stirred these pastes up. I haven't used some of them in a while, so a couple of them were pretty darn dry, and I had to add water. And they really could use to sit just a few more minutes so they're not quite as lumpy. But you want to have them about the consistency of cake batter. But if it feels thicker, more like a brownie batter, you want to add a little bit of water, just a couple drops at a time, and stir it up until you get that nice cake batter consistency. Alrighty, so for this one, it's such a tiny little area that I'm going to use my multi-tool. We have squeegees that you use to apply the paste in, I think, 5 different sizes. This is a multi-tool. It's got a very small, I'm trying to see if I can put it in a place where you can see it, a very small squeegee on one end, and it's got a curve on the other end. And this is perfect for when you're trying to scoop out around the edges of your jar so that you can stir it also with the small end of the squeegee. So we have a mini squeegee, which comes in this size, which is good for smaller things like this. We have this size here. This is called a small squeegee. You saw me rubbing all of our pieces down, making sure everything was tight with that one. But this you could use this on this area, I suppose, if you were careful. And we also have an angled squeegee, which I don't have in front of me right now, and we also have a 4-inch squeegee. So if you're doing really large projects, you probably would love to use that 4-inch squeegee. Gets it done really, really fast. So for this project right now, I'm going to use the smallest squeegee to do the scroll work around ice skates. Then I'm going to peel it back, let it dry for a second, and then we'll continue with the word ice skates. Now, one of the things I can do is I can do this all in white like I was thinking originally, but I could also do white on the top, blue on the bottom, and then kind of create an ombre effect by rubbing all in between those 2 layers. So let me know what you think. Should I do all white or should I do ombre? Think about that while I am doing this scroll work. I would love to hear your opinion. Hey, Mary Jane, welcome, welcome. If you guys are just hopping in, please say hello. And if it's your first time watching, put a 1 in the comments. So I'm just going to take this squeegee right here. I just see there's some chalk on the bottom. I'm going to pull that off. All right, take some of that chalk on my squeegee. And this is not like painting where you have to stay in the lines or anything like that. It's very forgiving. You're just going to brush your chalk paste over the lines that you're working over. So all of these gray areas right here just need to be covered with paste. You don't need to stay in the lines at all. You just want to avoid the other areas that you don't want blue at this point. So Happy New Year, everybody. Did you guys have a good New Year's Eve? I did. I went to my sister's house. She's a lake house in Otis, Massachusetts. And it was icy. The roads weren't bad, but the trees were all covered with ice, and it was just so pretty. And I'm just covering all the way across here, and I'm leaving it a little bit thick. You want to be sure to pull that transfer up before your chalk dries, and the thinner, obviously, your chalk is, the quicker it's going to dry. So I'm just going to work this and leave it a little bit thicker. Then I'll go back and scrape off all the excess. If you guys have any questions while I'm doing anything here, please ask me. I'm happy to answer your questions, and I like talking to you while I'm working. Otherwise, sometimes I feel like I'm talking to myself, so talk to me. Hey Renee, welcome, welcome. We're working on ice skates tonight. Okay, so I've got all of that scroll work on the top covered. Then this is where I'm going to go back and scrape off the excess chalk and put it right back into the jar because it can be used for another project. So to do that, I'm just going to change the angle of my squeegee, and I kind of use a snowplow motion to remove all of that excess. Just like that. Finally catching me live. I know. I'm very, very blessed tonight because my Wi-Fi is being cooperative. It wasn't so much last night. We tried. We really did try. Okay, so I have covered all of that area and squeegeed off the excess, and what I'm going to do now is pull the transfer off till I'm just below the scroll work, like so. Da-da-da. So far, so good. It looks pretty nice. Did I take down my tree and decorations? Christine, believe it or not, I haven't had Christmas yet. It just hasn't happened. One thing happened, one thing led to another thing, and my family was not able to be here to exchange gifts with my kids and my grandchildren. So guess what? We're doing it Saturday, and I'm afraid it's going to be like the Christmas tree in that movie, Christmas Vacation, where all of a sudden all the needles just fall to the floor because it's going to be pretty dry by then. So Saturday is Christmas here at my house, and then probably Sunday morning our tree's going to come down. How's that? I know, it's crazy. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in. This is just set up for just a minute. I'm going to let the transfer just fall. I'm not going to rub it back down like it was before, but I'm going to go with my squeegee and go across these letters here for ice skates and make sure those are down tightly. And then I'm going to do those. What'd you think about doing the ombre? Should I do that in just white, or should I do it in ombre with the blue and the white? Nobody knows what to do. All right, I'm gonna ombre it, because why not, right? Why not? All right, so I'm gonna grab my white. I think I'm gonna start with white on the top and then do the blue beneath it. So here's my lovely bright white chalk. And what I'll do is I'm gonna go right about to the middle of the letters. From the top right down to the middle, the center I should say. And I'm going to leave this a little bit thicker again like I did before, so I can go back and take the excess off when I'm ready to. So have you guys done ombre before? I know Christine has. Renee, you probably have too, right? She said no, and I'm not sure why she said no. No ombre? Or yes ombre? I'm not sure what your no is about, Christine. You'll have to tell me again. So we had Christmas with my extended family. My in-laws were here, and that was lovely. But we were supposed to do Christmas with our kids a couple days before, and it just wouldn't work out. So it's this weekend at my house. There will be Christmas cookies. I better start baking again. Oh well. My other thought was that I could just put everything away, all those Christmas presents I bought, put them away and save them for next year. I would be so surprised to see what I bought people, right? Hey Shannon, how are you tonight? Happy New Year. Okay, so I've got the top halves of these letters covered with white. So far so good. Now I'm going to go with the blue. I could use this again. And I'm going to do the lower halves of the letters in the same way that I just did, just about halfway from the middle of the letter down to the bottom of the letter. Not letting the colors touch though, because when I scrape them off it will contaminate the paste if I mix the colors together, so I don't want to do that. So I'm just being a little bit careful, and as I said, I'm leaving it a little thicker so that I can go back and grab it later before it dries. Same to you, Shannon. Same to you. I never even thought about it until just like the 2 days before New Year's Eve that we're in the roaring 20s again. Think the flapper styles will come back in style? Christina, I can see you being a flapper. Wearing those cute little outfits and dancing. She's my music trivia expert at some events that I go to. Ask her anything about the 70s music and she's on it. She knows them all. And every word to every song. It's pretty cool that you can do that. Alright, so I've got all the blue covered and the white. Now I'm going to go back and scrape the excess off. You don't want to leave that too thick because it'll look bubbly when you take it off. It doesn't look nice and smooth like it should. Scrape that off like so. And don't get, oops, I got a little bit on there. Let me see if I can get that. That's okay. And then the white one, squeegee that off. Ah, I did it. I got blue in it. Oh well, that's okay. My pieces never, ever, ever come out perfect, and I'm okay with that because this is chalk art. It's not supposed to be perfect. All right. So to do the ombre effect, what I'm going to do, off to the side here, I'm wetting my finger with my spray bottle, and I'm going to do a little circular motion in between the blue and the white with my finger. Just going round and round and round. I think this is going to be pretty. Round and round. And it's looking a little more blue than white right now, but that's okay. All right. So before this is dry, I'm going to lift it and see what our ombre looks like. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Ta-da! Can you see that? I'm going to pull it up closer so you can see it. It looks really neat. What do you think? All right. I'm going to put this here to dry for just a minute and try to clean off my fingers a little bit so I don't ruin anything with them. And then we'll move along to the next area, which will be the other scroll work, which we'll do in blue. Da, da, da. So sometimes I'm tempted to use a dryer to dry the paste that's underneath it, but I found that when I do that, sometimes it'll warp my transfer. So you kind of want to avoid that. So I'm just going to let that again fall back nice and lightly. And I'm going to take this clean squeegee and rub down the next area of scroll work that I'm going to work with. Okay. Let's move along. Well, thank you, Miss Terry. How are you tonight? So this transfer is called Ice Skate Rentals, in case you're wondering. It is available on my Chalk shop. You can run that address down at the bottom of the screen a little bit later so you can see what it is. I have a pretty easy to remember website. It's chalkcouture.com/Susan. Since I was one of the very first designers in the company, not the very first, but I was in there when the company was about 2 months old. No one had taken the name Susan for their website, so I got it. That made it pretty easy for people to remember who I was and how to find me. So this is called Ice Skate Rentals, and I'm working on a beautiful Aiden Chalkboard, which is my favorite surface to work with. Chalkboards are the best, especially for beginners, because you can make mistakes and wipes right off, no problem. Okay, I'm going to go back and take the excess off, just like I've been doing. After you've done this for a while and you have a feel for how quickly it dries and how much paste you need, you don't use quite as much paste, so there's not as much to scrape off. But even if you put lots on there, it's really not wasting because you scrape it right off and put it back into the jar, right? Okay, so there's our second layer of scroll work. Well, thank you, Terry. I'm pretty happy with this so far. So I'm thinking I'm going to do the skates in white. Don't know if I should do the blades in a different color. I have like a gray, but it's going to be pretty tough to get it in all those little areas. So I think I'm just going to stick with the white. All right, so I'm going to let that drop down. And again, work the transfer so that these branches are nice and tight. And I'm going to show you another technique that I love to use called hot mess. Hot mess. Anybody ever done hot mess before? Christina, I know you have. Renee, how about you? Have you done hot mess technique before? All right, so how we do this is, I could do these all in one shade of green and that would look fine, but I want to add a little bit of dimension by using a couple different shades of green and maybe a little bit of white too, just to add some more dimension. So I'm going to cover this blue for now because we might be done with that. I'm not sure though. And I'm going to get a couple of these little, I have them right here, stir sticks that I used earlier. And my greens, again, I'm using meadow and eucalyptus, and I might use white too, so it'll look like there's a little bit of snow on the branches. I keep looking to the side because my computer's there and I can see your comments a little bit better. I'm not ignoring you. Not at all. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to start with the dark green. And I'm just going to take my little stir stick. And these are, I got these on Amazon. They're actually makeup applicators. And Chalk Couture has their own branded ones now. And they're a different color, but they work in the same way. So this is all stirred, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stir stick and try to put little dots of color all over the branches here. It's just little touches of that green color. So most of the darker areas in a branch, if you think about it, will be towards the stem. So most of my dots are in that area. So I'm going to go a little bit brighter with the lighter green. And those are going to extend out a little bit further out into the what are they called? Needles? Needles. Leaves, needles, I don't know. I should know that, right? Okay, I'm almost done with this color. You just want to make sure you put on enough so that when you run your squeegee over your project, you're going to cover all of your areas. All right, now I'm going to move on to the white a little bit. Then we'll blend this all together. Hi, Leslie. And Ruth. Oh my gosh, I haven't heard from you in a long time, girl. How are you? All right, now I'm adding the white. That's going to look like a little touch of snow, I hope, when I run the squeegee through. You'll see what I mean. Little dots of color. Not doing anything fancy at all. Okay, this is the fun part. Now I'm just going to take my squeegee and smooth it over the design and blend all of those colors together. And hopefully this will be so pretty. Okay. I'm going to make sure all those little tips are covered in the leaves. Okay, so normally I would squeegee off the excess and put it back in the jar, but because the colors all blended together here, I'm just going to scrape them off onto a paper towel. And there's really not much that I use, so not much to scrape off. So I'm going to peel that back, and hopefully that will look super cool. It does. Oh, you guys, this is really nice. I'm just going to hold this up there so that you can see how those branches look. Can you see the different colors that run through the needles? Really pretty. All right, you gotta send me some hearts if you like the way that looks. All right, so I'm gonna let this one drop like I did before. Those are already rubbed down, and I'm going to do the same technique on that side. Just dabbing that color all along the stems and into the needles somewhat with the darker green. And then we'll add the lighter green and the white on this one as well. Isn't that a neat technique? Yeah, so you guys, this is going to be one of my classes I'll be offering at the end of January. If you are interested in joining us for that, let me know. If you already have an Aiden Chalkboard or one that is 9 by 12 that you've purchased from me previously, all you're going to need is a transfer. So it'll be a really inexpensive night for you to come out to. A lot of fun. And now with the white a little bit. Couple little dabs of that. I guess it doesn't show quite as much as I thought it would. I thought it would look a little bit more snowy, but I'm okay with it. I love just the variegation of the colors. It looks great. All right, here we go, back with that squeegee. I don't know what I did with it though. I lose my squeegees all the time. Okay, so I'm just running my Squeegee through all of those needles and branches and covering all of the open areas. Oops, looks like I'm shedding too. I'll get it. Okay. Almost done. The excess goes on the paper towel. Remember not to put that back in your jar because you will have a mess. A piece of hair in here. There, I got it. It's in the transfer, my goodness. Must have gotten stuck on the back side when I wasn't looking. Okay, that is all scraped, and we're going to pull this and see how that looks. Ta-da! I really love the way that technique comes out. Here, so you can see that all together. Love, love, love. So next we're going to do the ice skates. I think I'm just going to do them all in white. Keep it simple, Susan. Okay, so while you are watching, if you wouldn't mind doing the S-H-A-R-E, that would be helpful to help grow my audience. S-H-A-R-E is a word that is a bad word on Facebook apparently, so if you could just hit that button, and we're going to say the word sprinkle from now on, I think, because I like the word. Sprinkle this with your friends so that they can see a little bit more about Chalk Couture. That would be the best compliment that you can give me. If you are interested in getting paid to craft like I do, write the word join in the comments and I will get you some information about becoming a designer. It is a lot of fun. Lots and lots and lots of fun. So I'm going to drop this down again. And once again, I'm going to go back in there and smooth out those ice skates so we have no bumps, bubbles, folds, anything like that. We want to get them all out before we get started. And we'll go in with the white on these. Oops, I see something right there moving. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to cover these greens before I forget. I want to keep them covered as much as possible so they don't dry out. The more they're exposed to air, the quicker they do. So you should try to keep them covered as much as you can. And we'll go back in with that white. I need a clean squeegee. All right, here we go. Give that take a scoop of this and start spreading it over the ice skates. Again, you can leave that as thick as you want to. As you learn more about chalking